is the public accommodation?
Just by having a business, using the contract with the company, it's called irrevocable license. That law actually went through the regulatory process of the mandates did not.
Okay. So, second thing, the governor has issued an administrative order. That order is actually enforceable as a Class A misdemeanor. I can look it up. I can get you a statute number if you'd like.
I'll look up that.
I would like that.
However, I can tell you this. Nobody, to my knowledge, in the city of Eugene has received a citation for that. And I don't want to be the first one to issue it. I'm not interested in that.
Right,
I'm all about educated. Excuse me, sir. I'm trying to talk.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to be polite with you. I just asked you to do the same thing.
Please do.
Okay. So I'm trying to be diplomatic with you guys and educate folks about what the expectations are.
Anybody's educated.
We are very educated.
I also recognize that what you're doing is a form of civil disobedience, and that you're here to push the line. I get that. Okay. So you're not the first protesters I dealt with, and you're not the first ones I've dealt with civilly and had a good rapport with. And so I don't expect that to change today.
The reality of it is, officer, is if it's a mandate and this is a public building,
Right.
while somebody could get uptight about us coming in without it, from everything my knowledge is public building, a mandate is not a law, and let's add to it that I might even have a health issue, which is my business, which nobody needs to know.
Absolutely.
I don't need to wear a mask to go get broccoli or tofu. I should and can, as an American, come into this building without having to explain my medical condition, without having to explain the Constitution, or that Governor Brown's mandate is just that, and it's not a law. And while I respect what you guys are doing, and I appreciate you guys coming up on us, we have done nothing wrong. We have not been asked to leave, and on top of it, it's a mandate. It's not a law.
Yeah.
So, I don't even know what authority or power you're trying to express or convey to us, and while I appreciate it, we're American citizens.
Yeah, we are American
practicing
citizens.
our constitutional rights to be mask-free.
In a public place.
Whether I have a condition or not, officer, is not the issue. The issue is I'm allowed to not have to have a mask. Show me when we're in World War II Nazi Germany and I'll throw a mask on. But until then, no thanks.
All right. So.
May I explain something about medical personnel? I'm actually a medical professional, and it is a felony. It's not just illegal, but it is actually a felony to attempt to enforce a medical procedure onto another individual when you are not a medical professional yourself. And so anybody who is demanding that we put a facial covering on our oxygen reception, that's a medical procedure, and no one can actually enforce that upon us. That's an actual felony. It's the and it's. Thank you, because it's the same as the same as That's right. It's like impersonating a law enforcement.
It's open to the public, but the private business can regulate who comes in for what, right?
Not when it's a public business.
Right.
Not when it's public.
To leave, you understand what I've told you, which is that I want you to leave if they tell you to leave, whether it's here or Whole Foods or any other place you go, right?
Public.
Okay.
You guys don't seem to be hearing us that we have the constitutional right to come here.
If somebody asks you to leave and you don't leave, I understand they probably didn't in this case, I'm hearing you. But if that happens in the future, that's the crime you'll be facing, okay? I don't want you to deal with that.
And it isn't a crime, so. It isn't a crime.
Irrevocable license. I'll enter into contract with the general public. Okay. I'm allowed to go in there and browse.
Maybe you guys are getting the education today, in a humbly speaking, but maybe it's you guys who need to find out these businesses are public properties.
Public accommodation.
They
If they're
cannot
open to the
tell
public.
me that I cannot go shop, and they also cannot come in and suss me out and say, oh, mister, why? Where is your health paperwork? And whether I have health paperwork or not to prove it, I don't have to come forth and say, here's my paperwork that back in August I had a procedure, and I don't want to wear them.
His doctor doesn't work here.
Yeah, my doctor doesn't work here, and I don't have to wear a mask. And
I didn't see any doctor.
And while I don't even care to get groceries here, I'm just here to support the fact that we do have the right to go to any one of these public buildings and not wear a mask. It is a mandate, officer, not a law. And you guys, as people who are either hired in or voted in, your bosses, need to actually get this into your consciousness that we are the people who pay you, and we've had it.
And we're
not
fighting
wearing
for our
masks.
freedom. It
This is
starts
our
with masks,
freedom. I
then it
am
goes to
basically your
vaccines,
boss.
then it goes to other things.
I
Okay,
apologize.
calm
I'm
down.
basically your boss, though.
Okay, look, I'd like to add.
Why don't you step up?
Sure.
I can hear you.
Okay.
Is actually standing up for businesses for illegal OSHA mandates or regulations or whatever you want to call them, because they're not law. They're legislative regulations. They're actually standing up for their people.
Okay, so the governor's executive order is, I understand, is an enforceable law. So.
But there's no law officer. There's no actually no. Yeah.
Yeah, step forward so they can hear you.
There's no statute.
All right.
Voice is so soft.
Anybody have any questions for me? It sounds like you guys have.
No, but I'm concerned because the majority do not understand that a mask becomes bio-waste after 20 minutes. You're trapping bacteria, and that's growing in a moist environment, and that's causing tooth decay, periodontal disease, and bacterial pneumonia. So this is what.
I've never heard this before.
Yes. Please look it up, because we are extremely concerned, not just for ourselves, but for everyone becoming sick and not knowing why they're becoming sick. That we are not designed to. This is oxygen intake and carbon monoxide exhale. So it's like trapping yourself in a running car inside of a garage. You're not getting the oxygen, you're just getting the carbon monoxide. That's what's happening here. And also the paper and these are not respirators, so the paper and cloth masks do not filter viruses. It's like putting up a chain link fence against a mosquito. That's basically what it is. So I mean, I'm concerned for everyone, but it does impede your oxygen flow. However,
Can I keep this?
absolutely yes, please, sir. Thank you. Thank you for listening to us. I appreciate
I
that.
guess my question is what am I supposed to be taking from you guys? Is it a warning? Is it an understanding that I shouldn't come back to natural grocers? What am I
Thank you,
blocking
sir.
from this conversation?
I've just educated you about the crime of trespass, and I've talked to you about the governor's executive order, the fact that it's enforceable, and that I don't want to enforce it because I'd like to have your voluntary compliance.
So
And
we're
now I'm going to go away.
well, so wait, we're trespassing right now?
Only if you go back inside and they tell you to leave.
It's funny because before you said
You
you're
go back
trespassing,
inside and they tell you to leave, you're trespassing.
But
And-
didn't you just say we were trespassing?
No, I said that
When you first came up, you did.
I believe you.
I said.
Well, we have it on film so we can
They
review
said
it.
that we
It
were
doesn't matter. I'm not out to
trespassing.
bark at
You go
you.
right ahead and agree to do it. If I'm not
He
enforcing
thought
the
we were
law
asked
against
to
you,
leave. He thought
then
we were
we're just
asked to
having a conversation, right? I mean, here's the thing. If somebody asks you to leave from a private business,
Which they did.
regardless of whether the door is open to the public, you'll have to leave. And I don't want you
No,
to put yourself
we won't.
involved.
Let me ask you this. If I go across to PF Chang's to order some grub and I don't have a mask on and they complain and they call and you guys are suddenly across the street and there I am with my plate of broccoli, blah, 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 and I'm about to eat, no mask on, and they have made a complaint. Am I to understand that
You're not
because,
even allowed to have your seat inside, if I understand correctly.
well, let's just say I'm sitting outside and somebody's called, let's just go through this. I just want to understand the law. Are you saying Governor Kate Brown's mandate will get me a Eugene, Oregon police citation if I continue this behavior at enough of these spots? You'll catch up with me today somewhere and say, all right, dude, you've gotten enough of these calls and now we actually are going to give you a citation. I mean, not that I'm going to push the envelope to do that with you guys, but I want to understand.
I'm hoping that you're not going to put us in that position.
I'm trying to understand what it does to take
think
to
there's
earn
a
a
law to
citation.
back that
I want
up?
to earn. What do I got to do to earn a citation? So when I go home and edit my video and show it to the community, people understand what's gonna earn me the citation.
We're going to look at the state order and violate the order, but we're not going to try. We're going to try to get voluntary compliance before we ever give any citations. Okay?
Yeah, we're not going to
I'm
comply.
never gonna wear a mask, doctor.
I'm not a doctor. I told you that. I'm a police officer.
Then stop telling me to wear a mask, state of Oregon.
Yeah.
Then stop telling me to wear a mask, state of Oregon.
It's the same.
You are gonna try to enforce.
Well, I don't have a printer, but I'll tell you what. Because you've asked for that, I'm going to go to my car for a moment where I have Google, and I'm going to look it up, and I'm going to give you the number. Okay? All right.
Can I ask you a question real fast?
Thank you, officer.
Do you guys understand how government works?
What?
Do you guys understand how government works?
No.
What did he ask?
He asked me if I understood how the government works, and I told him no.
Okay, well, let me educate you. You're part of the executive branch, not the legislative. You know what that means?
Yeah, I understand the branches. He asked me how the government works. He didn't ask me about the branches.
The problem is here is that you know it's illegal. It's actually a felony to impersonate an officer, yes? It's actually also a felony to impersonate a medical professional, and by demanding people cover their oxygen reception.
Do you have the ORS for that?
I'm sorry?
Do you have the ORS for that?
It's not. There's no.
Oh, I don't. I don't have that right now. No, not on me. No, but it is researchable.
What's ORS?
Yes.
Oregon Revised Statute.
Do you have the ORS for the mandates?
I don't.
Okay, wait, continue, please.
That was about it. Yeah. That was the whole thing.
It's totally illegal. And there will be no complying, and we will be doing more and more of these. Because if we don't start standing up for our freedom now,
We're going to lose our whole state
yes, we're
and
going to lose
nation.
it all. And
We won't be able to make our own decisions
about anything.
And it's actually a medical procedure.
You're preaching to the choir.
Fantastic. Okay, fantastic.
I appreciate it big time, bro.
May I give you a couple of things? Thank you so much, sir.
Sure.
Oh.
You guys know you're being recorded?
Yes,
Yeah, do you
yes
know
we
you're
do.
being recorded? All right, fair's fair, officer.
If we're preaching the choir, can I ask you a question?
Sure. I don't know if I'll answer it.
Sure, it's fair. Obviously, neither of us are required to answer anyone, especially even a cop.
We love and appreciate you guys. And we
What's the
have
question,
compassion.
Marshall? Please speak up.
The question is why is Lane County and why is the police chiefs not standing up for businesses' rights and people's rights?
That's
If we're preaching the question. That's you not the call is the warning, right?
Yes.
We are the people fighting for our freedom, and we'll continue doing it.
Sorry?
Is it a dictatorship in your precinct? Okay, just curious.
I have a chain of command.
I understand that. That was in the Marines.
Isn't it, don't you find
was
it
too.
interesting that we're in something called a freeze, yet we've been talking for a good half an hour and cars are going by and life is just going by? Officer, what do you think all these people are coming and going and doing anyway? Like, what's going on in our society?
Why are Costco's packed up, but you can't see your grandma at the nursing home? And you know, all these... Yeah. Well, it's a hypothetical.
What do you guys think about all this anyway? I mean,
I'm
you
not going
guys
to
are
tell you what I think when I'm on camera.
all right.
Because that blows up my career.
That speaks volumes.
Cameras off. What do you think?
He says we should be protesting at the
Mine's
Capitol.
not.
We do.
Right, yours not.
I
Yeah.
do freedom rallies.
Hi, Mom.
We do all kinds of them at the Capitol. So we are we
My
the
knowledge,
people.
the Eugene Police Department has not cited anyone.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Because there's nothing
and we
to
can go
cite.
right back in there.
But here's the issue. Here's the other issue that you guys need to be careful about. They can't trespass.
Wow. That's up for debate.
Yeah, that's
It's up for debate.
Right, but
Yeah.
you can still be arrested and then the debate happens in court.
I already have them.
That's true.
This is
Because personally that's what I would do. If I had to cite somebody, one of you guys, for doing trespassing, I would cite you and then you can argue it in court.
Yes,
Well, I
yes.
don't want that.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
I don't
that's
want that either, but
understandable.
That's where we're at.
Yeah.
That's where we're at. We're arguing these legalities and stuff. Like they can't trespass me and those things. We're arguing that. That's not a decision.
I would just say I'm the cameraman, officer. Just the cameraman.
And when you're a medical professional,
Yeah. Yeah.
We tend to look at the law black and white, and then the lawyers look at the gray stuff.
Right. And then Natural Grocers gets a massive lawsuit, and it actually helps the case if someone is arrested.
It does.
Yeah.
Because then it creates case law.
That's right. I bet you have a beautiful smile. Will you flash it for me?
Sure.
You're a beautiful man. Thank you so much.
I want you to know, officer, I sing it out loud. I'm black and I'm proud. Yes, I.
they're not
I
backing
think
up.
there's some confusion as to
There's no confusion. CDC buried it with a bunch of their propaganda, which is built into its release. So I'm just working in tandem with the mainstream media. I mean,
But
it's pretty
what
obvious
I
to me.
don't think you're understanding though is that a private business has the right to trespass you so long as they're not discriminating by race, color, religion, sexual orientation.
Disability and disability.
medical.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't say disability.
I'm religion and disability. Yeah, I have this just also. If anybody wants to red laser it.
And if I don't do that, I'm going to
essentially, they can kick you out for any reason other than those other. They can say, I don't like your face, and we want you out of here.
Yeah, I disagree.
You know what I'm saying?
I disagree. That's not true. You need to have stuff to back that
Well,
up.
I'm telling you that the law says
They could, but they'd lose a lot of money in court.
that they can trespass you as long as they're not discriminating against race, religion, color. It doesn't say for jumping up and down 3 times or they don't like your face.
Officer Throw over here asked me to say no arrest crime. I couldn't do it, but you guys are the law, so you guys should know that. So I'm asking you, what arrest is that?
Well, I mean, I'd have to look it up, but I'm telling you that they can trespass you for any reason other than that list of reasons.
So 164, 255, and 164, 245.
64, 265.
ORS 164, 255 is criminal trespass in the first degree, and ORS 164, 245 is criminal trespass in the second degree.
So if I come back later today without a mask because I have a health condition, and I come here because I serve items that I like, you guys, and then I go in here and I do have a health condition that I'm not going to get into with you guys right now, and I come here and I forgot about this morning, and now it's coming on closing time, but I come here to get my stuff, right. And I come in, you guys, and I have no mask on. Maybe I just spaced it.
Right.
And then they say to me, hey guy, you were here this morning, we don't care about your health condition necessarily, we would like you to leave. Then that comes down to, if I don't leave, I'm trespassing, you guys arrest me or citation me. And then if I
might have a civil case.
They haven't. Yeah.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, we've already explained to you guys that putting on a mask is a medical intervention. Do you understand?
There has not been a case law about that yet.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Is there one coming? Maybe. But I don't know
It's
of
coming.
any case law that says wearing a mask or not wearing a mask is a medical issue.
Oh, actually, according to the FDA, according to the CDC.
But those are administrative rules. Those aren't necessarily laws that the Oregon Supreme Court or the United States Supreme Court.
Oh, and you think
those are
that when that
rules.
goes to court, you think that's not going to justify?
That's what's going to determine
a position.
when it actually goes to court. Then case law will come down and say, okay, yeah, that is a medical issue.
Well, it's a medical intervention.
But an employer
According to
has to
OSHA, according to FDA, according to CDC, wearing a mask or a respirator is a medical intervention. And it's a voluntary act for employees, and it is something that's administered by a physician.
What I'm saying is there's no court case that I know of yet where they have upheld that.
Hello.
They can't.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it does.
No, it doesn't
That's
matter.
how the law works.
Well, actually, look, when it goes to court and it's revealed that the CDC says it, the FDA says it, OSHA says it, all these organizations clarify that it is
But see, I
indeed
guess
a
what you're
medical
confusing
intervention.
is what they say as an organization is an administrative rule and what the law actually says and what courts have upheld. Those are completely different things.
Okay, so all of this is about what we're willing to do to fight for our freedoms in this nation. Okay? I realize that both of you, my husband's law enforcement, okay? So everybody has a choice of what they are going to stand for. And a lot of times people will obey whatever the governor says to keep their paycheck. Okay, so that's something I would like to encourage both of you, being law enforcement, because I support
But you
the
don't know
blue.
what
Back
my
the blue.
position is because I can't tell you.
Why aren't you allowed to talk on camera?
You
Because it becomes in a paradox to your boss or something?
Hold on, Josh.
This is about standing for our rights according to us each personally, what we believe is morally right and true to keep this nation free.
What I was trying to say was this company also has a right to trespass.
You are diverting my question.
No, I'm just saying I can't tell you my personal opinion. Is what I'm telling
I'm not asking you. I'm just saying, when you guys go home, when you take your badge off, I would hope that you would think about your own personal job and how far you'll go to keep your job.
We haven't been speaking with that position yet.
You already are with those masks.
At some point, you got to pick sides here.
You've got to pick sides.
In a way, she's right. You guys wearing those masks right now are taking the side.
What happens when they're forced vaccines?
Don't you want? Hey,
Guys, we're following a policy.
don't you want to breathe in the air?
Listen,
when vaccine
Don't you miss
come out,
breathing?
you guys are our last defense to them coming to our doorstep.
That's true.
Yeah.
Stabbing us
Taking our
with the
guns.
vaccine.
So folks,
So
I told you I would research something and I did. So the executive order is 20-65, you know that. The executive order doesn't say anything about requiring masks inside stores. What it says is that it gives guidance to stores about requiring masks. So it tells the stores that you should have your customers require masks, and it leaves it in the hands of the stores to require or not to require masks. Okay?
what is guidance?
Guidance means this: we as a state think that you, the businesses, should be XYZ. But they also said we as a state mandate that you as businesses limit your occupancy to 75%. That's rule versus guidance. Okay. So the store then has the ability to enact their own rules about what behavior or what expectations they have for their clients, because you always have the option of not going to natural groceries. You can go to Albertsons or some other place that has different policies. Does that make sense?
Albertsons.
Nobody has a right to go to wherever store they please if their beliefs are contrary to whatever the rules are in the store.
Unless you're a bakery.
Well, I don't know. Right.
And that is true, because I know that Walmart, if you tell them you have a medical condition, they let you go inside.
Right.
So
No, they don't.
They do in Cottage
Not
Grove.
anymore.
Depends on which
Not
Walmart you go
anymore.
to.
So
Anymore.
They
the
just
governor has
happened
face
yesterday
cover
in Cottage Grove.
guides for stores, 75% capacity. Stores have face covering rules, and the rules are where I don't want you guys to get crosswise. Because you go into a store that has a sign that says you require face coverings, and you go into the store and you say, I'm not going to wear one, and they say, well then I'd like you to leave the store. Again, whether or not that happened here is debatable. I'm not even going to get into that. Okay, we're talking about we're in the theoretical education place. They tell you to leave. I want you to leave as a fellow citizen. I don't want to see you guys get in trouble or cause any resource drain to come and deal with that situation when you know better, right? Any questions? Who wants to hang on to this one?
I have a question.
Officer
Mozan.
Bring up an interesting point, which goes back to Thor's point. You stated and you said the title, but you did not say the stipulations of that. You just told us that there was trespassing.
Well, I mean, yeah.
802 here in Eugene City Code.
I
And
saw
the
that.
ORS that are right down there is the enforcement statute for 2065.
You can give me all the numbers and titles all you want, but if you don't tell me the stipulations, it really doesn't matter.
You mean the elements of it?
As far as proving it.
Yeah, as
Well,
far
they're
as
not going to prove it.
It's knowingly entering or remaining on
I
premises.
mean, if I cited you for going back in there, that's something that's going to be argued in court. I don't prove it.
No, I mean,
well, can I add something? The bottom line is that sure, if someone trespasses on someone's private property, their home, that is not open for business to the public, then sure, that's trespassing. They can be arrested for that. But if they open a store as a public accommodation, then that's a whole different. I think that's the point you were trying to make.
Well, I understand the point you're trying to make, but again, I think an element covers this privately owned business that's open to the public, and you guys disagree with me.
It's a public accommodation.
Okay.
That's what you're
We
not
have two separate
Whatever you
statutes.
want to call it.
We have a home is trespass in the first degree, and a business is trespass in the second degree.
Yeah, but do you understand that in order to execute that trespassing in the second degree, my understanding is that someone has to break another law in that business. Otherwise,
that would be called burglary.
Yeah, and if they have broken another law in that place of business in the past, then they can get a trespass in the second degree. Am I?
I would encourage you to hit the books again. Look up
I would agree
trespass
with you.
2.
Yeah.
Get a better understanding of trespass 2, because your understanding is not in congruence with what I've understood over the last 26 years of police.
But I think this.
I've arrested lots and lots of people for trespass in the second degree. I've never lost one in a circumstance where a person was there when they were told not to be there and they remained there. Okay. I'm not here to demean anything, any of your cause or any of that stuff. I think I've educated you on the law. The governor's order is enforceable. It's not so much about the mask, but about the size of gatherings, the capacity of buildings, and
Thanksgiving, having more than 6 people.
None of us were super excited about that, but it was what it was.
I still haven't
By the way, we
seen
didn't
a
issue a
statute.
citation too.
I still haven't seen a statute.
But trespassing
That's not
is a different
statute.
situation entirely, and you can't get yourself into that grease, and I don't want you to do that. Because everybody
Officer.
understands that we all
You said, what's the statute? You said,
We're building. Pretty soon there's going to be hundreds of them.
Officer Mosan, I have a few questions. One, why aren't you guys allowed to really speak what's on your minds while you're on recorded camera? I mean, is this not your job anyway?
So, well, we're at work. We're here to serve everybody, the city of Eugene, and to follow the law. Okay?
But not
it's not about us. It's about our office. Okay, so I'm here as Lieutenant Mosan, and what Doug Mosan, a citizen, thinks when he's off duty is really none of your business, and frankly, none of my business as a lieutenant to share with you.
Second question: are you guys forced by your boss to wear those masks, or do you have free will when you get to the office to wear or not wear the mask that you're wearing now? I'm curious as a citizen.
I'm not aware of any employee that's been forced to wear it.
So
we have a policy, and everybody's in here.
You guys consciously wear them by free will.
We have a policy, which is a guideline, but it's also enforceable, right? And the policy is set that PPD officers, when they're in public contact, are supposed to wear a face covering. And the type of face covering is loose. When we extend that a little bit to when we're transporting a prisoner, our policy says we're supposed to be wearing an N95 medical grade mask, high protection, having open windows, and have the prisoner have a mask on, so that we can limit our COVID exposure.
Socialism at its
and
finest.
part of the nexus behind that is because we've had a number of officers that have transported folks to the Lincoln jail where they tested everybody coming in. And then we've later learned that that person tested positive for COVID, and then we have to go backtrack. So what we've learned is that the current guidance is that if the officers follow the guidance of wearing an N95 mask, face covering, keeping their windows open, having a covering on the person in their car,
I really feel sorry for you guys. I do.
That's a cool thing because it allows the officers to have some peace of mind over their safety of their family. Has the ability to
other states laugh at us.
So the answer is the police force has its own free will. For example, for Officer Tim here, he can choose in the morning at his shift whether he wants to or not want to wear a mask.
Well, you're asking if they've forced anybody, and I don't know. To my knowledge, nobody's been disciplined or
So
told.
But you go in without a mask,
but I will say,
you will be reprimanded and fired.
But you do
Because you
have
don't wanna
free
lose your
will,
job.
officer, to choose to whether or not you want to wear your mask on your shift.
I could choose not to, but I might face some consequences.
Yeah.
Well,
Which
of
are
course.
what?
So it's,
Of course you would.
yeah.
May I tell you of something about the PCR test?
They give us safety equipment.
Disciplined? Okay.
They give us safety equipment, and we're expected to wear it, but really, in the end, it's up to us whether or not we want to stay safe and wear our safety equipment.
Well,
I wear my bullet resistant vest every day because it's not because my boss says I have to, because they're willing to give me
that's
one
common
for free that I can
sense.
wear. It is
yeah,
common sense.
it's different.
Yeah, you wear the mask, but we don't care if you wear the protection.
For you, and I don't know if you'll answer it or not, but I'm curious, and thank you guys for being veterans, by the way. I appreciate you guys serving.
Excellent.
This is the most crucial question. What is
Give
civilian
it to
D.
the man at the
Mosan
end.
going to do as opposed to Officer Mosan going to do when it reaches critical mass in this country and civilian Mosan has a conflict with Officer Mosan inside and actually has to make, or any one of you officers, has to actually make a decision between what civilian Mosan feels and what Officer Mosan feels. Who are you going to pick? The guy at home?
That's what it'll come to, yeah.
Or are you going to pick the guy in the suit who ideally is going to protect me and my blood in my home? Or maybe you're like us on the inside and you would rather be over on this side too right now, but this is your day job. Or could you even give us an insight to share what the difference between civilian Mosan and Officer Mosan would do? Because I'm curious as a civilian. Thank you for your time. It's a valid question. Because you're not just an officer, you're a man.
You're right. So here's the thing. I've been civilian Mosan a lot longer than I've been Officer Mosan, and I'm also, I'm aware of the laws, and I pay attention to my individual liberties and rights. I don't exercise all of them all the time, but I'm aware of what they are, right? And the thing is, each of us swore an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States and of the state of Oregon.
Exactly.
And we're all pretty good at it. And one of the things that we don't do is we don't get. I mean, I don't get too wrapped up over whether my rights are being violated until I think they are. And so thus far, I haven't felt that way. So I can't really. I guess it's a little bit of an abstract question because I haven't yet been put in that position. I can tell you that I've been asked at times how I feel about one practice or another when it was really on the line, and I couldn't give you that opinion while I'm at work, but I'd give it to you freely when I was out feeding. So you know, I'm not going to do something that violates your rights. I know that much, and even if you think that's otherwise. We may disagree, but you know in my heart of hearts I don't want to violate anybody's rights, and I will go out of my way not to. Okay? And the second thing you need to know is that this is an uncertain time, right? I mean, I hope we never get to that dystopia that you described.
Oh, we will.
Where we have this huge
I'm asking
huge conflict.
We're headed that way.
See it
Yeah.
I mean, look at this conversation we're having for an hour.
No.
Thank you. Thank you, by the way.
Can I tell you about the PCR test?
And you're right. We
May-
have no right to ask you about
You need to be louder.
officers, anyone, like the celebrities.
You do want to get in the middle.
It's their life, it's their job. But you said something earlier about statute.
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact number. But you said you've been enforcing it for 401-990?
Yeah.
And you've been enforcing it for the past...
No, we haven't actually had to enforce it. We've been in
No, I think he's talking about trespass.
Trespassing.
Oh, trespassing, 4.801, yeah. So 4.801 is trespassing, yes.
You had to enforce that for the past 23 years, you said?
26 and a half.
26 and a half years.
Yeah.
And you also said that you haven't dealt with anything like this, and it's a kind of gray area, right?
No, and what I was telling you is that I haven't personally had to deal with an issue where my personal rights and my work role were in conflict, and that was an answer to this question. With regard to the statute, I haven't yet encountered a person like yourself who was unwilling to leave when told to leave from a private business, and I had to actually arrest them. In a protest situation, we have arrested people lots of times for trespassing. Yeah, I have to go
Bye.
Okay, thank you for answering that.
Yeah.
Actually, the more I think about it, it's possible we've had protest situations regarding camping when we did actually arrest people.
Since this is a different situation, don't you think it might require looking at that ORS a little more closely?
No, it's very simple. This is not a public building, and you don't have a right to go in there. You have the privilege of going in there because this business chooses to open to the public, okay? And when you're inside, you're expected to conform to the expectations of the business, okay? It's a business, it's a private business. Now, police headquarters, you can come to police headquarters and you can get away with a lot different conduct than you can in natural grocers because we're a public building.
Do they sell almond-based tortillas?
Right. We're actually funded by taxpayers and all that stuff. You know, these guys are funded by those almond-based tortillas and
It
stuff.
ain't all bad. It ain't bad.
Do they have those keto tortillas?
I just don't understand. So if I have a medical condition and I want to get my goodies here and I come back later tonight and I don't wear my mask, I'm either going to run into one of a couple things. Ask to leave politely, ask to leave via you guys, or perhaps even arrested and citations. Is that what I'm looking at later if I pull some shenanigans?
Possible, but let me offer you an alternative.
Yeah, don't shop here.
No, that's not my alternative. It's even better than that.
Put on a mask.
No, look at Grubhub. Look at Grubhub and DoorDash, and
they cost extra money and they don't pick the right. That's not reasonable accommodation though. It's not reasonable accommodation to not be able to pick my own produce.
And have curbside service free of charge, right? I don't have to pay anything.
Yeah.
That is total discrimination.
Yeah. And it's making me a lesser human being than other human beings to say that I don't have equal access, fair and equal access. Absolutely. It's a discrimination against my disabilities, and I do have multiple. Yeah.
I don't happen to agree with it.
Well, it's true though. It's actually ADA law though.
Funny story about beards, right?
Okay.
So because of our air purifying respirators, gas masks, right? We've not been able to have a beard by policy for about the first 24 years of my career. We got a new chief. The chief incentivized philanthropic giving to some charities, and said if you give, then we can grow a beard electively. Your choice. And many of us said, gosh, I haven't been able
they might get our word out better.
Who is this?
For so many years, I'm going to grow a beard. So we did. So it's one of those things where I chose to follow the policy.
She's got
But, oh boy, what do you want to know?
what are you guys doing here?
Oh goodness, what do I start with? I wish I had some more papers.
What do you need? First off, what's your name?
I'm not sure what you need to ask me a question.
Yes. My name is Lauren. I work for KVAL. I'm coming out here and figuring out what you guys are doing. Somebody told me you guys are called Operation Breathe Right.
Yeah.
Breathe Rights.
Well, we haven't given it an official name. Yeah, we're just trying to shop for food. Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, there goes your show.
Oh shit.
There goes your story, lady.
Let me see.
No, this is her thing.
Oh,
is this
thank
what
you
you
so
wanted?
much. Yeah. Let me just.